Welcome to RWG Publishing. Today, we're diving into a really powerful framework for handling life's most overwhelming challenges. It's all drawn from the book Not Your Fight by Bill Vincent. And let me tell you, it offers a radical perspective on how to face those battles that feel absolutely impossible to win.
Have you ever felt just completely outmatched by your circumstances? I mean, whether it's a health crisis, a financial storm that just appears out of nowhere, or a relationship that's on the brink, we all have moments when our own strength, our own strategies, and our own resources just aren't enough. Well, this book tackles that exact feeling, and it argues that maybe, just maybe, the reason we feel so overwhelmed is because we're fighting battles we were never meant to fight in the first place.
The book opens with this just gut-wrenching moment. A child's rare diagnosis, a parent's total powerlessness, and this desperate cry out to God. It's a scene that immediately grounds the book's message in a universal human experience. You know, your battle might not be in a hospital room, but that feeling, that feeling is the same. The walls closing in, the sense of being completely and utterly outmatched.
So to really understand this framework, we're going to walk through 5 key ideas from the book. We'll start by exploring that feeling of facing an overwhelming battle. Then we'll get into the counterintuitive promise that's right at the heart of the book. From there, we'll look at the practical strategy of surrender, the paradoxical power that's found in weakness, and finally, what this all means for the choices we make every single day.
Okay, let's dive right into this first section. Before we can even begin to understand the solution, we have to really grasp the problem. That moment you realize the fight is just too big for you. And to illustrate this, the book uses a really powerful historical account.
Now, what's so interesting here is that this ancient story provides a blueprint for the entire book. You have this king, Jehoshaphat, who is facing total annihilation. He didn't have the army, he didn't have the resources or the strategy to survive. So what did he do? He did something that goes against every human instinct for self-preservation. He stood before his people and prayed, "We have no power. We don't know what to do, but our eyes are on you." This admission of complete weakness, it wasn't a sign of defeat. It was the critical turning point that opened the door for a divine strategy.
And that moment, that admission of powerlessness, it leads directly into the book's central, game-changing promise. It's a promise that completely reframes who is actually responsible for the outcome of our biggest battles.
This right here, this is the core message. It's the anchor for everything else in the book. This was God's response to Jehoshaphat's desperate prayer. And notice, it wasn't a pep talk, it wasn't a list of new strategies, it was a declaration of ownership. God essentially said, "Thank you for admitting you can't handle this. Now step aside and let me." This is that counterintuitive truth. Victory doesn't come from fighting harder, but from handing the fight over to the one who has already won.
This slide just captures it perfectly, the stark contrast between our perception and God's promise. On the left, you see our reality, a vast army, no power, no clue what to do next. It's a recipe for panic, right? But then, look at the right. You see God's response. It's a completely different reality. He doesn't say, "Here's a better sword," or "Here's a clever battle plan." He says, "Stand still. This battle is mine. Victory is coming." The instructions are fundamentally about our posture, not our performance.
So if the answer is surrender, what does that actually look like? It's so crucial to understand this isn't about passive resignation or just giving up. No way. The book frames surrender as an active, powerful strategy. Let's see how this builds into something we can actually do when chaos hits.
The strategy breaks down into 3 really practical steps. First, pray first, not last. This is about rewiring our default response. Instead of trying everything else and then turning to prayer as a last resort, we make it our initial primary action. Second, worship before the breakthrough. This is radical. Jehoshaphat sent the choir out ahead of the army. Worship becomes a weapon that shifts the atmosphere and declares faith in the outcome before it even happens. And third, stand still in active faith. Standing still doesn't mean doing nothing. It means ceasing our own striving and manipulation while actively and expectantly waiting for God to move.
Each of these steps is a really deep dive in the book, with specific methods and biblical examples to guide you. If you want to really unpack how to implement this strategy of praying first, worshiping as a weapon, and standing in active faith, you can find Not Your Fight by Bill Vincent on Amazon.
Following this strategy of surrender leads to a deeply paradoxical outcome. It completely flips our cultural understanding of strength and weakness right on its head. The very thing we try so hard to hide, our weakness, becomes the exact place where true power is found. This verse is so central to the book's argument. It suggests that our moments of "I can't" are not failures. They are invitations. When we finally stop pretending we have it all together and admit our limitations, we create the space for a strength that is not our own to show up. A great example of this is Gideon's army, which God intentionally shrank from 32,000 men to just 300, to make it absolutely clear that the victory could only be his. Our weakness becomes the stage for his strength.
This contrast right here really gets to the heart of the fundamental mindset shift the book encourages. On the left, you see the exhausting mindset of fighting for victory. It's filled with striving, uncertainty, and so much pressure. It's all on us to perform. But on the right is the liberating mindset of living from victory. This perspective is rooted in the belief that the ultimate battle against sin, death, and fear has already been won. The point is, we're not fighting to achieve victory, we are enforcing a victory that has already been secured.
So we've journeyed from that feeling of an overwhelming battle to the power of surrender and the surprising strength found in weakness. And this brings us to the final, crucial point. What does this mean for you, today, in the battle that you're facing right now?
These 5 points really summarize the core message of Not Your Fight. First, the chaos isn't random. It's often a tool used to refine our character. Second, surrender is a deliberate, active choice, not a sign of defeat. Third, worship is a proactive, spiritual weapon. Fourth, your moment of I can't is the precise moment God can say I can. And finally, the goal is to shift your entire identity from someone fighting for a win to someone living from a victory that is already yours.
You know, this has been a high-level overview of a deep and truly transformative concept. If this framework resonates with you, and you want to explore how to apply it more fully to your own life, you can find the complete book, Not Your Fight, by Bill Vincent on Amazon.
And so, as we wrap up, we'll leave you with this question from the book to consider. What energy would be freed up? What peace might you find? What space would you create for a different kind of power to work if you truly surrendered a battle you were never meant to win on your own?
Thank you for listening to the Deep Dive Podcast.